Welcome to KGPT's Wichita's Biz That Is. I'm Tim Witzman, president of the Wichita Independent Business Association, and we have a fun guest today, Gail Foley, who has her own program, One Awesome Community.
Correct.
But we'll get to that in a little while. Let's start out with, where's Gail from? Let's go to the beginning.
Oh my goodness, that's a long story. Actually, I started out in a little place called Ohio, and I progressed, and as life progresses, I ended up here in Wichita after my family moved here. My son-in-law was in the Air Force, and I was in Williamsburg, Virginia, selling timeshare. Very happy. And then grandchildren started coming along. I'd been away from my kids for about 4 years, and every time they came to visit me, I was just sort of going through the motions for about 2 months because it was really sad missing them. And so when they moved here, they invited me to come and visit. And when I came to visit, I got on that airplane and I thought I was going to die. There was something about this grandson of mine. I already had a granddaughter, but this grandson had just reached in and grabbed my heart more than anything, and I was heartbroken having to leave him.
Okay, this is on the plane going back.
Yes, going back. And so my daughter says to me, she's, Mom, there's just one thing to do. And I said, okay, I'm only going to move here on one condition. If the winters are tolerable. Because I lived in Ohio where the snow effects, Lake Erie, are going on right now. Okay, that's where I grew up. Then I lived in upstate New York, near Lake Champlain, where you had a blizzard every Thursday, whether you wanted one or not. And so I don't like winters, cold, or anything. So I had to decide for myself how winters were here before I would even entertain the thought. So I'd come back at Christmas time. They weren't that bad. So I went back to Williamsburg, continued my journey there, selling timeshare, meeting people from around the world. And my dad got diagnosed with multiple myeloma. And so all of a sudden, my world's flipped upside down. He's still in Ohio, and my daughter's still nudging me to move here. So finally, I said, okay, here's the deal. I'm going to go visit my dad. They were going to Florida for a Disney trip, and so I said, I'll fly to Florida from there, right back with you. That was 20 years ago. And yeah, so the thing was that I will be here as long as my grandchildren treat me well.
I see.
Okay. Well,
please take note of that.
My grandson is now 20, and he still kisses and hugs me in public in front of his girlfriend, tells me he loves me. So then I married a local boy after being single for 14 years. So here I am, 20 years later.
When you got here, then you went to work.
I did. There were no timeshare resorts, obviously, here, so I had to find another chapter in my life, and I've been very blessed. I've had some really incredible career choices. I spent 24 years as a secretary, which taught me diplomacy and interaction and customer service and all that. And then I ended up in advertising. And I still have a magazine going strong in upstate New York. And then when Saudi Arabia broke out in Plattsburgh, New York, the first time, my advertisers just pulled in the sidewalks. And so that's when I transitioned into timeshare. And so when I got here, it was like, okay, I need to go back to publishing, advertising. And so I spent several years selling advertising in this town. Yep.
Who did you sell for?
Well, I started out selling for actually a company out of New York City, a company called Getting to Know You. And it was the time of my life because it was a phone directory that when you moved into the community, you would get this phone directory that was specific to your zip code. So the doctors, the dentists, the stores, they all had an exclusive listing in that address book. And then in the back, you had room for your own information. And so I had discovered this when I was working a very hateful job. I had been at the Business Journal for 9 months. I don't do corporate. Okay, so when
I'm not a big fan of corporate myself.
No, I didn't do well. I almost forgot that because it was such a blip on the radar. But I did. I started out at Wichita Business Journal, and after 9 months, I couldn't do the micromanaged behavior. And so I got into something even worse that was selling furniture. And so I started looking for an outlet because I was claustrophobic. Don't put me in this world. I can't be out. In fact, one day they had the Chili Fest, and I called my kids on a Saturday. I says, come get me, please. I can't do this anymore. It's like, Mom, stay the course. So anyway.
Please express yourself. Don't hold back, Gail.
I'll
Let
try
us,
not.
let us
Yeah,
know how
I
you feel about it.
So I got into this getting to know you, and so it was an independent contractor position, obviously, that I worked from my home, which I absolutely love. And you would go in and sell advertising. So I would just have such a blast. I would go into a business cold calling. I did 17 cold calls a day and had so much fun. And I'd walk into a business and I'd say, "Hi, I'm Gail, and I'm here to get to know you." And they'd just look at me. And I actually had a plastic surgeon office. It was like I was on candid camera. I walked in and these ladies burst into song, "Getting to Know You." I'm like, okay, where is the camera? They had no clues I was coming. So I did. I was I was told it wouldn't work in the area that I picked first because you picked zip codes. And I got very mad. Because at this time I'd started working 3 jobs to cover myself because I was a single woman. And this was commission only. And I was starting in November, and it was really a struggle. I really didn't know the area. And I would walk in, and they said, "Oh, that's not going to fly here. Nobody sells houses in this area. Nobody's buying new houses. Nobody's moving into this area." I was so mad. I took the Sunday paper, and I cut out all the houses in that zip code, and it was a very colorful spread. I laminated it, and the next time somebody said that, I says, "Really? What's this then?" And so I started selling that, and I got featured in the company magazine for coming up with that idea. And it was just one zip code after another, and it was wonderful. And then, you have a perfect situation, and then a company decides to merge. And unfortunately...
Darn corporate again.
Oh, yeah, corporate again. And unfortunately, this company not only own Getting to Know You, they own the other program where you go into the home called Welcome Wagon. So we were actually competing with one another.
Well, as we hit to the welcome, it's time to take a break.
Okay,
And
cool.
we'll be back in just a moment with more of Wichita's Biz That Is.